Episode 56 RP, March 12, 2024. We begin with New York City and Toronto pizza and an Australian podcast. Episode 56 RP, Table of Contents. 1. New York City. Pizzerias regulated by percent of PM2.5 emitted, sparing near neighbors some air pollution. 2. Canada, Ontario, Toronto. Pizzerias regulated by percent of PM2.5, by tax of 2%, sparing near neighbors some air pollution. 3. Australia. Podcast about the deadly impact of wood heater smoke in Australia. 4. United States, EPA, safe PM2.5 NAAQS lowered to 9 micrograms per cubic meter, from 12. 5. Arkansas, Tonitown. 6. California. South Coast Air Quality Management District, AQMD. 7. California. Forests cut to burn, polluting California. 8. Florida, Jacksonville. Polluting wood recycler shut down for polluting through wood burning, after neighbors complain. 9. Minnesota, Pine Island and Mason City. 10. New York, Oswego County, statewide burn ban. 11. Oregon Department of Environmental Quality, DQ, giving $11 million to private companies to cut their pollution. 12. Texas, Corpus Christi Fire Department responds to smoke conditions at a school. 13. Canada, Alberta, Banff. Why Jasper and Alberta can't buy firewood but Banff and Alberta can. 14. Canada, British Columbia, Kelowna. Fire crews knock down house fire and wood stove replacement program. 15. United Kingdom, Lancaster. Largest wood drying kiln in the United Kingdom costs €400,000. 16. United Kingdom, Leicester. 3 alternatives to wood burning stoves. 17. United Kingdom, London. Air quality improved since 2016. 18. United Kingdom, Oxford. Things burned, out of sight. 19. Ukraine, Zhytomyr. Man died trying to extinguish wood-burning fire. 20. Malaysia. Improving the counting of PM2.5. 21. Thailand. People behind forest fires face strict legal action. 22. PM2.5 in human health. Headlines. 1. New York City. Pizzerias regulated by percent of PM2.5 emitted, sparing near neighbors some air pollution. NYC burns pizzerias with new rule cutting smoky pollutants by 75%. New York Post. Man in front of pizza oven at Polly G's Pizzeria. 4. Polly G's Pizza in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, which uses wood-fired ovens, installed a smoke. New York City has quietly approved a controversial new green rule requiring pizzerias and matzo bakeries using decades-old wood particulate matter. 2. Canada, Ontario, Toronto. Pizzerias regulated by percent of PM2.5, by tax of 2%, sparing near neighbors some air pollution. Toronto area restaurant chain adds 2% to every bill to offset carbon footprint, National Post. There have been no ECCC in-person inspections of wood-fired pizza and bagel shops. ECCC also does not regulate wood smoke from these small businesses. Toronto area restaurant chain adds 2% to every bill to offset carbon footprint, Ottawa Citizen. There have been no ECCC in-person inspections of wood-fired pizza and bagel shops. ECCC also does not regulate wood smoke from these small businesses. 3. Australia. Podcast about the deadly impact of wood heater smoke in Australia. MJA Podcast 2024 Episode 8, The Deadly Impact of Wood Heater Smoke, with Professor the Medical Journal of Australia. Today we are discussing the deadly impact of wood heater smoke in the ACT and across eastern and southern Australia. My special guest is Professor. MJA Podcast 2024 Episode 8, The Deadly Impact of Wood Heater Smoke, with Professor Sotiris Vardalakis. Today we are discussing the deadly impact of wood heater smoke in the ACT and across eastern and southern Australia. My special guest is Professor Sotiris Vardalakis from the University of Canberra. 4. United States, EPA, safe PM2.5 NAAQS lowered to 9 micrograms per cubic meter, from 12. EPA lowers the PM2.5 NAAQS Jenner and Block, JD Super PM2.5, related health effects to air pollution sources of concern. EPA currently determines how many monitors, at minimum, are required in an area. Earth Matters. 25 states sue EPA over soot rule. Weatherization gets big boost. Daily coast fine particulate matter, known scientifically as PM2.5, 2.5 microns or less, and colloquially as soot, comes from industrial smokestacks. U.S. states to sue EPA over new air quality standards. One green plan at the EPA's recent action aims to lower the annual limits for fine particulate matter, commonly known as PM2.5, from 12 to 9 micrograms per cubic. EPA publishes air quality standards for fine particulate matter. The National Low Review PM2.5 consists of inhalable particles with diameters generally 2.5 micrometers. 5. Arkansas, Tonitown. ADEC files complaint against Tonitown mayor for allegedly burning materials during air quality test KFSM. Furthermore, Russell said the ADQ complaint was inaccurate as there was no wood trim burned that day. The ADQ said any further open burning. 6. California. South Coast Air Quality Management District, AQMD. Annual check before you burn season closes with 8 no-burn days. Record Gazette. No-burn day alerts ban the burning of wood or manufactured fire logs for residential fireplaces and outdoor fire pits when levels of fine particulate. The South Coast Air Quality Management District, South Coast AQMD, declared 8 no-burn days across the South Coast Air Basin during the 12th annual check before you burn season, which ended at midnight on February 29th. This is a slight decrease from last year's 10 no-burn days. The majority of no-burn days occurred during the last week of December during a period of stagnant meteorological conditions. Winter storms, good basin ventilation, and a continuing trend of reduced emissions helped keep PM2.5 levels low throughout most of the check before you burn season. This season, approximately 110 complaints were received and investigated related to unauthorized burning on no-burn days. Although wood smoke is natural, smoke caused by burning wood in fireplaces can emit approximately 5 tons of harmful PM2.5 emissions per day in 7. California. Forests cut to burn, polluting California. Golden State Natural Resources Wood Pellet Project and the debate over California's forest Sierra Sunday. Wood smoke pollution, Friends of the Earth Japan, Global Forest Coalition, Non-Toxic Neighborhoods, Society of Native Nations, Trend Asia. It is utterly unacceptable to turn more forest into wood pellets, burning to enhance resilience in the face of the climate crisis. 8. Florida, Jacksonville. Polluting wood recycler shut down for polluting through wood burning, after neighbors complain. Opinion: a look back at a bad legislative session for Northeast Florida Jacksonville today. Johns County shuts down wood recycler over smoke. St. Johns County shuts down wood recycler over smoke. Homeless population soars in parts of Northeast Florida. Jacksonville today. Smoke rising near ancient city. Wood recycling is visible near Palencia. News 4 Jax News. St. Johns County shuts down wood recycler over smoke. Wood business stops work after complaints of blowing smoke into the backyards. Spot on Florida. A privately owned wood processing and recycling business had to stop work after receiving a cease and desist letter from St. John's. Here are 10 big issues the legislature addressed this year. Jacksonville today. St. Johns County shuts down wood recycler over smoke. Jacksonville today. Thanks our sponsors. Become one. Hemp. Lawmakers passed a heavily. St. Johns County shuts down wood recycler over smoke. Jacksonville today. Residents near Ancient City Wood Recycling have complained about plumes of smoke rising from the business. Residents say they have been forced to stay indoors because of burning at Ancient City Wood Recycling at 395 St. Mark's Pond Boulevard, Jacksonville. Wood business stops work after complaints of blowing smoke into the backyards of thousands of News 4JX. According to the letter sent to Ancient City Wood Recycling by email Wednesday and through the mail Thursday morning, the company was burning outside. Wood business stops work after complaints of blowing smoke into the backyards of thousands of YouTube. A privately owned wood processing and recycling business had to stop work after receiving a cease and desist letter from St. Johns County. Wood business stops work after complaints of blowing smoke into the burning in St. Johns County. First Coast News. Wood business stops work after complaints of blowing smoke into the backyards of thousands of News 4JX. According to the letter sent to Ancient City Wood Recycling by email Wednesday and through the mail Thursday morning, the company was burning outside. 9. Minnesota, Pine Island. MNDT wood burning starts March 11th, KDDC Pine Island, Minnesota. Minnesota, Rochester. Mason City Fire Department responds to garage fire, KDDC National. 10. New York, Oswego County, statewide burn ban. Statewide burn ban begins March 16th. Oswego County today. Only charcoal or dry, clean, untreated or unpainted wood can be burned. Fires cannot be left unattended, must have a water supply available. 11. Oregon Department of Environmental Quality, DQ, giving $11 million to private companies to cut their pollution. Oregon DQ giving $1 million to 11 private companies to cut their pollution. The center square. Particulate matter from the state's air. That's $30,000 a ton. The PM2.5 NAAQS emissions controls and install new retrofit exhaust. 12. Texas, Corpus Christi Fire Department responds to smoke conditions at a school. Hasbrook Heights FD responds to smoke condition at Corpus Christi School. TA Pinto. The Woodridge Fire Department provided mutual aid at the scene. 13. Canada, Alberta, Banff. Why Jasper and Alberta can't buy firewood but Banff and Alberta can. Why Jasper can't buy firewood but Banff can. Yahoo News. Canada wood in Jasper National Park is not the same as it is in Banff National. The work included selectively removing vegetation, brushing, and burning. 14. Canada, British Columbia, Kelowna. Fire crews knock down house fire and wood stove replacement program. Kelowna fire crews knock down house fire. Kelowna Capital News. Wood burning stove replacement rebate for Central Okanagan residents. Door-to-door business scam operating in Lake Country, RCMP warn. Kelowna Capital News. Wood burning stove replacement rebate for Central Okanagan residents. 3 days. 15. United Kingdom, Lancaster. Largest wood drying kiln in the United Kingdom costs €400,000. Lancaster business invests £400,000 in one of the largest wood drying kilns in the UK. Lancaster Guardian. Logs Direct say the arrival of the kiln is set to facilitate further growth within the business and deliver the quantity of ready-to-burn wood that. Log burner owners issued warning in 3 alternatives amid calls for ban. Lanxliv calls for stricter controls on the ownership and use of log burners and wood burning stoves are growing. Over 1 million homes across the UK now. 16. United Kingdom, Leicester. 3 alternatives to wood burning stoves. A Place in the Sun's Jasmine Harmon says she's choked up. An update which, Leicester Mercury. 3 alternatives to wood burning stoves and log burners as calls for ban grow environment, with concerns about the environmental impact of wood. 3 alternatives to wood burning stoves and log burners as calls for ban grow. Leicester Mercury. With concerns about the environmental impact of wood burning stoves and log burners, we take a look at 3 alternatives to keep warm on chilly. They brought in equipment to measure the amount of particulate matter, solid particles and liquid droplets in the air. People are swapping wood burners for bioethanol fireplaces, and they're cheaper to run. Leicester Mercury. With wood burning stoves under the spotlight for their emissions, many owners are considering eco-friendly alternatives to traditional timber logs. 17. United Kingdom, London. Air quality improved since 2016. New report reveals dramatic improvements in London's air quality since 2016. Greater London Authority. PM2.5 filters in every classroom of 200 schools. Launching Breathe London, a comprehensive network of over 400 hyperlocal, accurate, and reliable. Children are breathing easier. But there is a lot more to do, including reducing diesel transport and wood burning, until air pollution no longer makes. 18. United Kingdom, Oxford. Things burned, out of sight. All that is solid burst into flame. Capitalism and fire in the 19th century. United States. Oxford Academic, Oxford University Press. Things still burned in industrial Europe, but bottled up in boilers, out of sight. The United States, by contrast, stuck with wood. It is remarkable. 19. Ukraine, Zhytomyr. Man died trying to extinguish wood-burning fire. Trying to extinguish deadwood. A man died in Zhytomyr region UNN.UA. At the scene, the rescuers found that dry vegetation was burning over an area of up to 2 hectares. There was a threat of fire spreading to the village. 20. Malaysia. Improving the counting of PM2.5. Improving the quantification of fine particulates, PM2.5, concentrations in Malaysia using ScienceDirect.com in particular. Remote sensing observations allow for a continuous estimation of PM2.5 and PM10 on large spatial scales. Zaman et al., 2017, Ramlee et al., 21, Thailand. People behind forest fires face strict legal action. People behind forest fires will face strict legal action, warns Patrawat, Nation Thailand. PM2.5, Natural Resources and Environment Minister. Chiang Mai offers 10,000 baht reward, uses artificial rain to control pollution. Nation Thailand. PM2.5 pollution reward. Related. Previous. Thai police the least trusted law. People to work from home in Chiang Mai. If haze does not subside by Sunday. Thai PBS World. PM2.5 work from home. Share post. Oscars night. 5 things to watch. March 9, 2024. Related news. Detention for 2 monarchy reformists extended. 10 Thai seek treatment for pollution-related illnesses. Penang News. PM2.5 refers to the level of tiny, hazardous particles, with diameters that are 2.5 micrometers or smaller, that can enter bloodstreams though. Sakeo and Cambodian officials launch joint operation to combat PM2.5 problems. ASEAN Now. On March 6, 2024, Thai national media reported that Sakeo and Cambodian government officials launched a joint operation to tackle PM2.5, 22, PM2.5 and human health. PM2.5 and camera. Revolutionary camera tech enables 24/7 air quality monitoring. Mirage News. Particulate matter, PM2.5 and PM10, in the Air Quality Index, AQI, effectively, both day and night. Highlights. 3 time series image datasets. A new approach to 24/7 air quality monitoring using cameras. Phys.org. Particulate matter, PM2.5 and PM10, in the AQI effectively, both day and night. Dr. Xuejuanlu, lead researcher and corresponding author, says, turning night into day, a revolutionary approach to 24/7 air quality monitoring using cameras. Newswise. By analyzing the visual cues and surveillance footage, such as haze and visibility, the model can predict concentrations of particulate matter, PM2.5, PM2.5 and colitis. Exploring the causal relationship between airborne particulate matter and ulcerative colitis, PLOS. The data indicate a probable positive correlation between PM2.5 exposure and UC risk. The statistical. PM2.5 and heart attack. Researchers make concerning connection to elevated risk of heart attack. The cooled-down particulate matter mostly comes from burning wood and dirty energy sources like coal and oil. Particle pollution your car spews out. It's a win/win. PM2.5 and POPs. Health assessment of emerging persistent organic pollutants. POPs. In PM2.5 and Northern ScienceDirect.com, the predominant sources of PM2.5 emissions encompass biomass burning, vehicle emissions, and energy production processes. Fatima et al., 2022. O et al.,